everyone's favorite, a pirate. I lived out of a car for years while working at Blizzard because I am not a Nepo baby. And my dad, who just coincidentally is one of the head people at Blizzard, can prove it. Software's career is absolutely in shambles. But I hope he obviously continues because, man, this one keeps on giving. And once again, people have noticed, we already covered this a bit 2 days ago. Oh, but today, man, people have really noticed it. That Pirate Software, once again, is just lying to everyone and trying to make himself the good guy in a situation that completely doesn't matter. And while everyone is calling him out for being a liar, can you guess how much accountability he's taking? Yeah, zero, obviously it's zero. Pirate Soft, who... What's more likely? Pirate Software taking responsibility, DSP himself taking responsibility, or the heat death of the universe? Yeah, Rib Bozo, I guess the heat death of the universe is happening first, okay? If time is infinite, every possibility is possible except the fact that Pirate Software takes accountability or responsibility. Man, the age of the internet is truly special, is it not?
Pirate Software has been caught lying again. Now, within the last week here, Ashes of Creation, this huge soon-to-be WoW-killing MMORPG, was officially
any day now
rug pulled. Here we can see one of the many headlines here. 2 days after promising it was still worthy of your investment, the most successful Kickstarter MMO ever was canceled and its team laid off. Now, admittedly, a young quaker myself here, at around 2020, I actually have a screenshot of it. When I had no bills to worry about and only disposable income, I put $250,000 to Ashes of Creation. I took a screenshot earlier. So back in 2020, years ago, I've been a backer and I never touched the game. And now I'll never get to touch the game, and that $250 has been run away with. I think
good. You deserve it, honestly.
Many of you longtime ex-fans of Pirate Software know that he was huge into Ashes of Creation. Matter of fact, he was one of the biggest, if not the biggest, streamer that was playing Ashes of Creation. He actually had a very...
And what did he use all that pulpit for? To get people banned that didn't do the things that he said that he wants them to do. Yes, that's actually a real thing, by the way. Again, Pirate Software's MO in literally every online game he plays is create his own guild and then abuse Palmer. It is hilarious.
Very huge guild on it that was a part of some drama. Don't pull the ocular. Oops, it was me.
God damn it, guys.
No. Oh yeah. We covered this. This was a good one. He's like, I'm gonna kick the person who was trash and did it. Turns out he actually did it. And he's like, yeah, nothing's gonna happen now because I am perfect. And then he blamed the tanks.
So one of you pulled the ocular. The lightning ball pulled... I cast lightning ball before that Oculus appeared. And half the raid was in the back because they pulled the wrong pack. I'm not at fault there. I'm correct there for doing that. 100%.
But we're not even talking about that. Today, we are going to be talking about Margaret Krohn. Margaret, I believe, was a community manager, and she was kind of talking with some of the other streamers. And of course, she lost her job in this whole debacle as well. From what it seems like from her posts, and we don't really have any evidence to support that she was aware that this was going on or that the CEO kind of just ran. Keep in mind, we don't really know 100% what was going on behind closed doors. There's plenty of information to kind of go about this, but it's not the main point of this video. But I'm talking about Margaret Krohn because her and Pirate Software had a bit of a back and forth. Now, to start this off, big shout out to Nephis QS here. They have the clip of Pirate Software that we're going to be using today to talk about what he was lying about. Now, specifically, Pirate Software...
Yeah, so this is something that we did cover previously, also from the same source. But this one just has all the information just straight up. Again, we already knew that Pirate is lying. Surprise, surprise. But, you know.
Left a little bit before Ashes of Creation actually self-imploded, and that had to do with a lack of moderation on AOC. And this is what he had to say in regard to that.
And I was sending them stuff back and forth with this, and I was like, hey, we got a serious moderation problem on the server. and we started linking them things. There was a guy that was actually posting comments about Jewish people every day, all day, right? He was just doing that every single day, all day.
Yeah, so this is a lie.
And the account would just change every single day. Guy never got banned. We had a guy that was saying that he wanted to form a group to go kill all the LGBT people on the server. We got a screenshot of that, sent it up to them. Guy never got banned. When I brought this up to them, what led me to quit the game was actually this response from Margaret, which I have right here. She wrote this: "To be transparent about what happened on our end, we investigated the reports you and others submitted. The messages in question occurred within a very short window, roughly a 15-minute span, and involved only a handful of posts. With some of this language used was inappropriate and unacceptable, our current moderation framework does not always move directly to permanent bans for first-time offenses of this nature." I think it makes sense for minor infractions. You rage out, you crash out, fine. But when you have a dude that's sitting on the server praising Hitler every minute on the minute, or saying that he wants to get a group together to kill gay
God forbid a first generation German in Argentina has a little bit of fun, you know?
people, you probably should ban that person. I don't feel like that's a stretch to ban that guy. Like and those were the ones we were reporting, and they didn't do it. This made me quit the game.
Now, I think the most people seeing that clip, yeah.
Now, obviously, by the way, all of this is lies, which is, I mean, it's part of software. It's always lies.
Makes sense. Like, yeah, those people should be banned. I agree with Pirate. That's not really a stretch. But the way that Pirate was framing this situation wasn't...
Okay, I don't know if he's going to bring this up, but the real reason Pirate Software actually wanted that guy to be banned is because, well, they broke the most important terms of service in Ashes of Creation, which Ashes of Creation had no idea that's even a part of their terms of service, but Pirate Software knows better. And that is, they mentioned that Pirate Software is a lolcow, and that the Kiwi Farm's threat on him is massive. Yes. I mean, I am literally showing no proof of this, but for some reason everyone watching is just automatically accepting this is true, because yeah, that sounds perfectly like Pirate Software. And yes, this is the thing. I don't know if he's gonna show it later on, but that is the thing. The reality is that person mentioned Kiwi Farms, and Pirate Software is like, Kiwi Farms, I don't like them, and he tried to got people banned because they mentioned Kiwi Farms. It's the best stuff ever. I mean, Pirate Software literally does. He never learns. It's amazing.
Entirely, it wasn't truthful. Now, here is following up. Margaret, I believe this is on her Facebook post, kind of similar to the Twitter post, similar to the Reddit. She kind of posted the same thing everywhere. People were mentioning Pirate's video. He made a full video, and that's where that clip is from. And this was her replying to people mentioning this. And she said, this was not what that message that was sent, that was shown on screen by Pirate here, was in reference to. It was in reference to someone calling him ferret fucker and good shit, your Kiwi Farms page is booming.
Yeah.
We actioned the account but did not permanently ban the person. Those other folks saying super...
And I mean, you mentioned ferrets and Kiwi Farm. That's a ban from life.
Egregious things like saying they wanted to kill LGBT people, we were banning, but we had a small team and we were working through banning them as we got through them in our queue. Another reply here saying, I know, I even sent Pirate Software a message with this information as well, and Kronos. So if they want to make it right, they can. But if they want to just take things out of context, nothing I can do other than state the facts for my...
When has Pirate Software taken anything out of context? Well, a better question would be, when has Pirate Software actually not taken anything out of context? Yeah. Again, he's lying, and everyone knows it.
Perspective. Now, I'm inclined to believe Margaret is being a bit truthful here, being as, you know, Pirate Software has in the past come after me by showing things out of context. Now, following up after this, I'm going to be reading through the direct DMs between Margaret and Pirate Software, as they were leaked directly from Pirate Software himself. I want to explain that a little bit, because I think this will help us understand why he released these, because it is very interesting that he did. He was talking about people that were saying some very unpleasant things, people going after LGBT people, you know, just these heinous things. And he was saying that that message was in response to that. And then Margaret had also been messaging on Reddit, things like that. And actually, I'll show Pirate talking about that. He says here, she posted this shit 8 minutes ago, and it's a reference to the message that
Okay, there's more stuff now. Okay, so this goes further. Beautiful.
she said in response to, I'm guessing you're standing by your statement that Pirate lied by omission about you in this video. Margaret says, no, I think there's misunderstanding on that. I want to talk to him and hopefully we can chat sometime, but dealing with not having a job and helping my coworkers get jobs. He says, we talked last night and I called her on her bullshit. So the idea that there is a misunderstanding is a fucking lie. And she wants to talk. We already did.
Ah, Moldavia's fig tree. Just doing stuff.
And he's replying to another person that I'm not going to show names of here, saying she's totally lying to save face. And he says this. This is from Pirate's personal Ashes of Creation Discord. Like, you have to apply to get in, from my understanding. And an ex-fan of Pirate, after, I guess, reading through the leaked DMs, ended up leaking these messages. Following up after he posts the chat logs, he says, that is the full unedited log of our interactions. Margaret has directly lied. Following up after that, he says,
Man, yeah, I mean, whenever Pirate Software says someone else but him is lying, I believe that, boys. Listen. Woof! Man, how would I not?
sick of people fucking lying. Sick of people fucking lying about shit like this at my expense. Misunderstanding my ass. Now,
This has been his, by the way, go-to constantly. For the past 2 years, this has been Pirate's go-to. Oh, people are just lying about me constantly. Here's my response that literally proves none of the things that they said bad, and I'm taking things out of context now, or speaking about different things. Like, he does that. He does that a lot. He tries to deflect constantly. It's beautiful, and he's really, really bad at it. Anyone who's paying attention knows.
seems like, which is strange, that he's also commenting and being upset about the fact that she lied about talking to him. Now, admittedly, as a fellow terminally online individual myself, I figured, yeah, that it does seem a bit deceitful. But turns out in the real world, sometimes people are differentiating between messaging between two people versus actually speaking to another human being. Following up on that Reddit post I was mentioning earlier, someone had pointed out, didn't you just talk last night? Funny. She responds, yes, I did DM text him after I watched his video. What I meant by that is I want to talk to him someday, not type to him. I just don't have the spoons for that right now for obvious reasons. Now, the moment you guys have been waiting for, let's go through these DMs. It's going to start with their interaction from just a few days ago, and then it's going to cut down to the messages that they were talking about, they were exchanging, what Pirate is even referring to. Right before we get into that though, pretty please just subscribe. We're like 500 subs short of 100K. I want to fill that blank wall-ish area there with a silver play button, and thank you preemptively for everyone helping us get to that number. Also, if you're liking this video so far, want to get in front of more people, give the video a like, perchance a high
Like and subscribe right now to my channel. It takes less than a second. I greatly appreciate it. Any help is good, and this actually does help a lot, so thank you. Like and subscribe right now if you think this is important.
and help us get some other people like to play video games and talk drama. Shameless plug over. Thank you for watching, and now let's get into the DMs. So starting off with Margaret. Hey, Pirate Software, I wanted to be clear with you based on what you quoted from our DM in your video here. This was not what that investigation section of the message was in reference to. It was in reference to the person saying ferret fucker and good shit, your Kiwi Farms page is booming. We actioned the account but did not permanently ban that person. Now I will say, that makes sense. Calling someone a ferret fucker, I don't think that should immediately get you a ban. Probably should time you out, mute you.
I mean, from Pirate Software's perspective, that's the worst thing that can ever happen in life.
As well as referencing the Kiwi page, that's not something that they can really, like, okay, you're referencing a public website that exists. Continuing on though, those other folks saying super egregious things like saying they wanted to kill LGBT people, we were banning, but we had a small team and we were working through banning them as we got through them in our queue. I just wanted to clear things up on the front because it seemed things got misunderstood. Pirate Software responds,
Oh, by the way, this is what I love about Pirate Software. He's just gonna be like, hello, you are wrong. Here's the reason why. On this date, something like this happened. Where's the actual proof of it? It doesn't exist. And the later on, this happened, and he's like, he's just gonna give you a wall of text that's most likely completely made up, or is blatantly false, and provide no proof to any of his claims in these walls of texts. This is how a lot of people started to understand. Wait a minute. This guy lies a lot.
Hello. Your version of events in this message is not correct. On January 6th, 2026, I reported Irish Kiwi and Avok to you for making accusations that I sexually abused the ferrets at our rescue and for claiming they were a part of Kiwi Farms, the hate group that organized swatting my home.
I mean, what do you mean claiming that they were part of blah blah blah? That's not against the game's rules.
Did this in-game and screenshots of their messages were provided. On January 14th, I then messaged again stating that the players had not been banned in the provided ban wave and stated this was against the game's TOS. Your response was that not every report may result in a permanent ban, and the ban list only displayed characters that received a permanent ban. You further explained that your team was unable to handle the influx of tickets. I then stated to you again what Kiwi Farms is and that they were involved in swatting my home multiple times in 2025.
Yeah. If you cross pirate software anywhere, that's a game in any game. That's a ban in any game he plays. And like, look at this. We don't need more context than this. Everyone already considering how this is laid out and you have all this information in a neat order. This is why I wanted to watch this video. You know that pirate software is completely just random yapping lying about it. Once again, surprise, surprise. And it's like, he just presents lies right there in front of your face, and he's like, believe me.
On January 14th, Kronos then provided an image showing the player Gooby stating that they wanted to form a group to kill LGBTQ players. Your response to this was to contact local law enforcement and that responses are delayed due to a small support team. You also stated that you would look into escalating the tickets in the queue. In the next communication, I directly state that Avok, Irish Kiwi, and Gooby did not receive a ban or suspension. We could see them clocking hours on Steam for Ashes of Creation throughout all of this. I provided an image of the support team response to my ticket. Your response to this message—
By the way, notice how he's literally stalking, okay? Again, this is what pirate software does in every game he plays. He tries to get people that he dislikes banned. Whatever reason. You can say something bad, but he also does this. He has a background of doing this to people just who don't do what he wants. Or for example, if you're playing a game and a rival guild is taking something that he wants, he is gonna try and get them banned for whatever reason. And this is pretty much just normal shit for him, I guess.
Was the one shown on stream. At no time did you ever state that an account was actioned in any way. You stated, while some language used was inappropriate and unacceptable, our current moderation framework does not always move directly to permanent bans for first-time offenses of this nature. The response was then discussed and highlighted on my video, and it was a direct refusal to commit to enforcing the TOS in a tangible way. I have a log of the entire conversation.
By the way, I also didn't mention this before, but pirate software is just gonna randomly say that he knows the TOS better than the company actually making the TOS, so there you go.
And can display it for you if necessary. What more do you want to discuss? Margaret responds, dude, I don't work there anymore. Before, I used to avoid talking about what actions were done per person, and I was being careful about what I said. I'm just telling you what the actions are now because I have nothing to lose. I don't have a job anymore. I wanted to be clear about what that one section was in reference to. That's all. Take it or don't. Pirate responds, doesn't matter if you don't work there anymore. You stated one thing to us and now a completely different thing in public. You've misrepresented the entire interaction you had with everyone in that conversation. The entire chat log shows what I said above is the actual course of events. Also, you weren't just clearing this up with me, you were spreading it online. And he shows the Facebook messages and also the, I believe the Twitter messages that she had been posting. And now we get into these leaked messages from Pirate Software that should completely prove his timeline of events that he just outlined. This is Editor Quinthio, still in my garb because I figured I might have to do this. There was a lot of reading off of messages in this one, so I'm going to, at my own discretion, kind of cut through some of the extra reading that I might have been doing. If you see these jumps and go, hey, you might be taking things out of context, I will leave a link in the description to the leaked, logs that I am going over. So feel free to read them at your own discretion. I'm only going to be cutting out stuff that is just like extra jargon or I don't think is necessary to the main messages and points. I just realized after recording that it is a fuck ton of reading and I might be able to skim out a bit of it, but just wanted to let you guys know. Anyways, enjoy the video. Off to this start, we can actually see just a little bit in here. I have to assume this says ret and then hashtag, hashtag, hashtag. It looks like it's saying ferret fucker. Pirate says on January 6th, he does have the dates right. Reporting these to the website. Now, this is very clearly, it appears what he's referencing. Reporting these to the website. Any ETA on an actual in-game / report feature. And down here, he shows the message.
Wait, I love this conversation because one side literally does not care. Yet our boy Pirate Software is absolutely in it to win it. He's absolutely throwing down. That's so pathetic. One side literally doesn't care this is kind of happening. Pirate's like, I'm gonna put my life on the line. This is why I love this. It's the most pettiest shit above lies. But it's not lies, it's the pettiest shit ever. I mean, this is still lies, but you get the point. It's hilarious.
Good shit, your Kiwi Farms page is booming. This dude needs to be banned. That's a hate site that harasses content creators specifically to get them to...
I mean, you need to understand, by the way, he thinks that him saying this is proof that the fact that you just mentioned Kiwi Farms needs to get you banned. It's kind of hilarious. He is so full of himself, and every situation he is in, but it's pretty much something like this, just right in front of your eyes. Something where he just assumes a position of judge, jury, and executioner. Oh, I'm right because I'm right, and this is bad because I say it's bad.
Off themselves. He sends a link to Kiwi Farms. This other person working, I'm assuming with AOC and helping Pirate says, what server? Lyneth NA? They go through confirming that. I sent this to our team. Pirate says tickets are in as well with these screenshots. A ton of people just don't report stuff due to the lack of a / report in game. Pirate says, any news on this? The player is still in game after multiple days. And for added context, Kiwi Farms is the group that organized my being swatted 6 times in the last year, each of which has a...
So you see, this is not actually about anything else, but just the fact that Pirate Software is unhappy. And again, swatted 6 times, bro, I don't believe you got even swatted once, okay?
Police report attached and felony charges should they be caught. This isn't a small deal. Adam says, I'm checking with the team. And then Margaret says, can you please put in a CS ticket? And then she adds, for context, customer support would need to investigate to decide actions for users. This is not something Adam does. In the meantime, please also block users they're messaging you and you are not wanting to get their messages. Pirate responds, I already have 3 times. She says, awesome, thanks. Toss me ticket numbers if you would like. Margaret says, thanks. We have a lot of tickets still getting through December during our break, so it'll take some time. It is January 8th and they are still working through the December tickets. So clearly they're quite backlogged here.
It's not the fact that they're backlogged. The thing with Ashes of Creation being a scam actually is someone got the job listings of the 250 people that worked at Ashes of Creation, and it's like, did those people actually work there? Because it doesn't seem like those positions are even useful. So the fact that they had 250-ish people working there, they probably had like 1 person doing the tickets or something like that.
Pirate now starts talking again on January 14th. As per the list of bans, the players I reported still have not been banned. As per their Steam pages, they are also still active in the game. Not only is this directly against your and Steam's TOS, it gives an incredibly bad impression
Steam's TOS? Ooh.
of the game to my entire community. All of this was reported 8 days ago now, and nothing has been communicated back. Can you explain to me why no action has been taken? He shows reference to the fact that this stuff is against TOS. Astute observation. Margaret responds back, we understand how frustrating it can feel when you don't immediately see visible action, especially when the behavior reflects on your community's experience. A few clarifications.
Oh no, you don't reply to Pirate Software with a copy paste. Oh no.
May help. Not every report results in a permanent ban. Depending on severity and context, some cases warrant warnings or temporary actions, etc. The ban list only displays characters that have received a permanent ban within the last 30 days. It doesn't show every different moderation outcome. She reiterates a second time. Our support team is currently working through a very large queue following our holiday break in December, and response times are taking longer than usual. I just want to say this now to get it out of the way. maybe they have a queue of all of these TOS breaking tickets that are showcasing these examples of people breaking TOS and saying bad things and whatnot. But it seems that because Pirate, is streamer and is talking with these people, that he feels
He is special.
that because he's able to directly show these examples, that he gets to have priority in that queue. There are people that could have been saying far more egregious shit, which is, still crazy, that just hadn't been dealt with either yet because they weren't there in the queue. It has been made very clear, and Pirate is also aware of the fact that this moderation team is small. It's been told to him directly from Margaret multiple times. Now, don't get me wrong, he has no obligation to stick around.
I actually wonder how much is a small moderation team even, because how hard is to just get through a bunch of tickets like this? Someone calls someone the F slur, well, yeah, you give them a warning. Maybe you give them a thumbs up, depending on, is that part of software? I'm just joking, YouTube. Jesus Christ, it's a joke, not really, okay? Well, not really, as in do it. Don't, it's bad, really bad. Don't take away my monetization, please. In any case, stuff like this.
Has no obligation to, I understand, you guys can take all the time you need. He can leave. The moderation team can just be too small for an MMO. But it seems like he's butthurt because they're not taking care of his personal tickets that...
Yes, this is all perfectly in line with Pirate Software as a human.
Involves someone calling
well, as a excuse of a human.
Ferret fucker, and someone else referencing Kiwi Farms, which is directly what he screenshotted and showed Margaret, which does not line up with the claims he was making that this was in reference to someone saying we're going to kill LGBT people. He is directly
true.
lying about the chain of events, and for some reason, I guess after not reading through them, posted these leaks. So I'm confused. This is him blatantly lying. Now, is he doing this maliciously?
Yes. Actually, good pause there. I did not know he's going to say that. But yes, this is what Pirate Software does. This is one of the things that he got away for years. Literally years. He's just going to post a ginormous bundle of goofy shit that's really annoying and no one actually wants to dig through and read as proof that he is right about something. And that stuff is useless, random, or completely disproves that he is right about something, typically. And he just does it because he got away for it for years, because people never actually fact-checked what he says. When people started fact-checking what he says, all of these things just suddenly popped up. It turns out he's lying about everything. Because, and he's continuing doing it. He's just gonna claim something, then claim he's right because reasons provide no proof, or when he does provide proof, he's just gonna drop something that's completely random that does not prove anything that he claims. This is what he does. This has been what he does for literal years. And again, he got away for it for most of it, until he didn't. Everyone gets away with it until they don't. Kind of funny, huh?
I'm not really sure at this point. There's been proof in the past of him just being an idiot and being wrong about stuff that he was very confidently thinking he was right about. But let's just continue on. Pirate responds back again. This person explained very publicly that they are a Kiwi Farms user and is spreading attack information from that website. I've been swatted 6 times in the last year due to this group, and he just keeps talking about that. He says, this is absolutely not taking TOS violations seriously, and I am disappointed by your response. If this is somehow not egregious enough to be moderated by your team, then I have no reason to continue playing. My brother in Christ, they're going through the queue.
Yes, and he's threatening, I'm gonna leave, I'm a big deal. Well, Pirate Software, I mean, I have done follow-up videos on you monthly at this point. And Pirate Software has legitimately lost roughly 97 to 99.5% of his audience. It is wild. His downfall actually needs to be studied. It really needs to be studied.
You potentially TOS violating tickets. You aren't special because they're calling you ferret fucker. Now, finally, on January 14th, Kronos is the first person to bring up these people, and he has a screenshot here about people grouping up to go against the LGBTQ community. He says, on top of the above, a number of people keep reaching out to us about comments like the attached and whether anything is actually being done about moderation day to day. While I am generally of the let it cook mindset and to leave time for things, active moderation of the community can't wait 8+ days like the above issue to get reviewed in action. Now, don't get me wrong.
Now, don't get me wrong. If you don't know who Kronos is, he's pretty much Pirate Software's right-hand man who donates to him through fake accounts just to make him look bigger. And most importantly, Kronos is Pirate Software's lawyer, who's a retainer, aka he gets paid to be his lawyer constantly. But he primarily gets paid to be a mod. And the funny part is, Kronos is from the UK. Pirate Software is not from the UK. He's from America. So his lawyer is a dude from Britain who does not know American law, who does not have a license to practice American law, and above everything, he can't even actually practice and be a lawyer in the UK because his credentials don't allow it. And Pirate Software, by the way, uses him to constantly try and threaten to sue other people. And I mean, Pirate Software has been absolutely destroyed in like 2 or 3 separate cases about this backfiring, which is also hilarious.
I think it's a good point. If people are spamming shit like this in the chat globally, like just on a public day-to-day thing, that makes sense. But again, they're doing the best with what they can. I think that that is fair criticism that they're not responding to things accordingly. But Pirate has been misleading, has just been completely wrong about what they were talking about in DMs. Or at the very least, the timeline does not match up with what he's saying. And it's very clear that the messages that she had given him, that he's bitching about, you know, being too corporate and whatnot, are clearly in reference to...
Actually, let's look at the message. Looking for a few good men to take the fight to the blah blah blah. Great again. Oh, but this is, again, you need to understand one thing, by the way. This is out of context. Stuff like this can easily be out of context because maybe he said maybe what previously was said was something like, "Oh, I know evil people who say things like," and then he says this because this is what they say. So I am not trusting a single line of text from anyone related to Pirate Software on a general level. So the fact that there's literally just one line of text here, yeah, I'm not taking that as evidence.
Again, they are doing the best with what they can. I think that that is fair criticism that they're not responding. At least the timeline does not match up with what he's saying. And it's very clear that the messages that she had given him, that he's bitching about, you know, being too corporate and whatnot, are clearly in reference to the Kiwi Farms thing and the ferret comment. Do you think perchance there were other messages during other parts of the days previously that may have been the same thing as this, or may have been something just as egregious, that are still waiting in the queue, waiting for them to resolve because they're fixing one?
Well, that's honestly pretty much it. There's nothing really new about this. That's the whole situation. But finally, we kind of have. Well, technically, I guess there's more, but this more is like massive, and it's just Pirate Software being in absolutely detestable as always. So I mean, there you go. Anyway, that was Quinty and 10 out of 10. Bye.